were protesting when there was no need to protest under Jonathan. Where are those protesters? Have they died? Where are they? So why are we saying it should not be in vain? Jonathan increased fuel from 87 naira to 120, and people were protesting in this country. And when it was 900, they were not protesting. Are they dead? So why are we saying it should not be in vain? People protested when naira was 180, and when it was 1,500, they're not protesting. Are they dead? So let's not say it should not be in vain. I spoke a few days ago, and people said I'm demarketing Nigeria. When it's true to being demarketed, World Bank has just shown that 75% of Nigerians in rural areas are poor. Is World Bank demarketing Nigeria? UNICEF 2 days ago released that Nigeria now have over 2 million malnourished children, the second highest in the world. Are they demarketing Nigeria? Let's face the reality. Their labor is in vain. We have a country now that is not democratic. We are not a democratic country. Let's tell ourselves the truth. Is the election that happened in Edo, is it democratic? Just the last election in Edo is the most undemocratic election. Everybody knows who won that election. So why are we keeping it and saying, let their work not be in vain? It is in vain.
So guys, we all know that recently Sanwolu said Peter Obi is demarketing Nigeria because they don't like you speaking or talking about the reality on ground. You know, Peter Obi was outside the country and he was talking about how things are going in Nigeria and why Nigeria is not meeting up with countries that were once, you know, at this stage where we are, and they've all gone ahead of us. So Peter Obi was talking about the reality in the country, and Sanwolu said he was demarketing Nigeria because APC is all about cover up. You know, you don't say it the way it is so that people will not really know where your pain point is. And now Peter Obi has finally reacted to that statement. So there is this video of Peter Obi when he addressed that issue. I'm going to allow you to take a look at the video and let me know your honest reaction in the comment section below. Now take a look.
Well, if you look at what Bishop Kuka said, he said the work in progress. Let me follow my brother when he said about 1999. If you look at where we are today, it's like they started in 1999, laid the foundation. Some people came and took it a decking, and some people were trying to raise it to first floor, and some people came and knocked everything down. That's the situation where we are now. Everything has been knocked down. Nothing works. And I'm somebody who can say this exemplary. I became a governor to the court when President Obasanjo and Atiku were in government. I did not pay the court 1 naira. I was sitting in my house in the office, and the court declared me winner. When a governor is not student, it can't happen in Nigeria today. When I was being impeached, the president sent people to come and intervene on my behalf. Nnamdi came begging house people not to impeach me. Today, the president impeaches the person. So that is the thing that is collapse. They were begging my house not to impeach me. And they were in PDP. I was in Africa. And they were begging. President was calling me and said, Peter, are you okay? Well, even when I was impeached, President Obasanjo called me and said, are you okay? Are you safe? When I go back from the court, when court eventually declared me under Anjuba, President Yaradua called my phone in London and said, congrats. I said, President, I can't come back because, you know, if I come back, these people, he said, tell me the flight in which you're coming back. And I told him, when I came in the first time, military people came to receive me at the airport. I couldn't believe it. I took me straight to him. Now the president will ask me not to come back here again. So insane. Let's not talk about it. Let's talk about how you're going to rebuild it. It's collapsing.
I'm glad that my last respondent said yes and no. So,
well, I would say to China, China is not democratic.
it isn't.
And I'm not going to compare ourselves with Singapore. is a country of less than 5 million people. But I'll compare ourselves to Indonesia. Indonesia is 280 million. And coincidentally, the country with the highest number of Muslims. We should look at their democracy. They have what we call proportional representative. That is what I've always championed and we should do. You cannot have, let me even go back, no country in the past 3 years conducted election had less than 30% of registered voters participate in the election and they held it. Everyone was go and check from South Africa to Mexico to Indonesia. They were not less than 60%. Nigeria was 23% of registered voters. In that 23%, Nigeria is the only country where you can be declared a winner without receiving 50% plus one of the vote. Our own was 37%. And there's no proportional representation, which is why you can have opposition here. Because if you had that, what you said wouldn't have happened. Because the person there now have 37% of the vote, call it 40. In the Senate would have had 44 members. PDP, with their leader, would have had about 34 members, and Labour would have had 24. In fact, we should have actually formed government. You cannot have a minority person sitting in government with everything, chasing everybody out, destroying everything. We must change it and have proportional representation so that the people must be elected. That is how it works. And when we do that, go and see it in Indonesia. In Indonesia, the president's party is not the leadership party in the parliament, but they have proportional representative, which brings proper checks and balances. Like he said, it's the operators. That is why I said it's failing. His argument showed that it's failing. Because the operators now have failed it. That is when we go back, it is failing.
But even in Nigeria, there's more to do with the operators. I'll give you an example. Here in this room, seated, is former President Olusegun Obasanjo. Under his regime, state of emergency was declared in a number of states. The National Assembly, then you had Senator Pius Anyim as President of the Senate, and of course, Senator Nnamdi and Senator David Mark. They all worked. And then, of course, Speaker Masari was also Speaker of the House of Representatives, Speaker Ete and Bankole and myself at the point. We all ensured that 2/3 majority of members of both chambers passed the emergencies in those times.
By 2/3, each member had to vote.
Each member had to vote. And you know that Parliament is guided by the Constitution, by its rules, and by precedents. In this same National Assembly, we have the same Constitution in a way, under Section 305. It has not been amended since the commencement of this democracy. We have our standing rules, and we have precedents of how 2/3 were able to be established in those instances where emergency was declared in Plateau, emergency was declared in Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe. And we stuck by those. And we were guided by the Constitution. What happened in the last one? So I still insist that you need to check out the operators of the system.
I have asked that question because Bishop Kuka, when he was speaking, made reference to how we balance it.
Yeah, I think we are looking at democracy within the context of Africa, not just Nigeria. And I listened to the speaker very well. He talked about the challenges, but I'll go even further. I don't know whether many of us were aware of the meeting last week in Qatar between the president of Rwanda and the president of the Democratic Republic of Congo over the war that was going on there. But what I found very striking is how the two leaders will even meet. Because a few days before that meeting, the president of Rwanda granted an interview. And in that interview, he was very brutal on the president of the Republic of Congo. He gave an anecdote that there was this report that he read somewhere that an Italian man, an Italian who lived in Belgium, said that when he was in Belgium, that the current president of Democratic Republic of Congo, Felix, was a driver.
So guys, yes, that's the APC tactics. When Peter Obi was telling them during the campaign, you know, bringing out data and talking about, I mean, data that Nigeria should pay attention to. Tinubu once said, "Na data will mature." Now they got into power, like Obasanjo will say, they came in unprepared. They came in unprepared, and the whole thing is falling apart because as it stands now, the naira has started depreciating. You know, all the magic they did, because it is not sustainable. See, it's just for a while. Like if you print money to just sustain the naira, it's just going to last for a while. We are not productive. Now they are telling us that we are not going to be having electricity because the subsidy that is attached to electricity is going to be removed, you know, under the Tinubu's government, and the prices of the oil prices is crashing. So Nigeria is at the point where they don't even know whether going back or going forward. But guess what? These politicians are busy with 2027 election. Nobody's paying attention to what can we do to remedy the situation on ground. You can imagine telling Nigerians that the subsidy for electricity is going to be taken away. They've increased tariffs, electricity tariffs, normally. They've increased that of telecom. And now they want to totally remove electricity subsidy. That means Nigerians are going to be paying through their nose. You know? If you have a business online or if you are a freelancer, you know what it will cost you now to meet up with your tax online because there won't be any electricity. And the federal government is quick to establish a solar panel in Asoro without providing Nigerians, you know, with electricity or even an alternative source of electricity. That is what they call leadership in the APC dictionary. Leadership, self-centered people. It's all about them, not about the people. Anyway, let me know what you think about this in the comment section. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell. Please give this video a like so that YouTube can be notified. And drop your thoughts in the comment section.